Hi, it's Leanne Jago back again for Two Sisters Art. So I'm going to use the July sampler box again. So I've actually used some of the Atelier Paints. Now I love these, so I have a variety as you can see there. So what I'm going to do is use those, and then I've also got some Chipboard and Stencils from Kinder Creations, which is an awesome Aussie company. So I'm going to use those as well. So I've just started out on a canvas board here, and I've got some of the satin heavy gel medium that we got in the box. It is really quite thick, so I'm just doing some layering up of got some tissue paper that I'd used for a gel print earlier, and then some book print, and I'm just going to adhere that down. It's just about creating some texture. A lot of this that I do at the start here, as with all mixed media pieces, gets covered up in the end. But as I said, you know, it's just for texture, and you can actually see the texture of it at the end, so I really like that. The project sort of goes through a few stages where I think, oh, I shouldn't have done that, and then kind of fix it, and then I don't mind actually how it comes out in the end, so it's pretty cool. So I'm just going to dry that a little bit, as you saw, and then I'm just going to get out, I have the Atelier in the heavy gesso primer, and so I use it a fair bit. I use it instead of my white paint, and it's what a lot of people do with their primers, unless I run them really white. And it's pretty thick, so I actually just scraped a couple of that on, and then just with a squeegee just sort of spread it around. Again, it's just catching. So, and then I've got these two chipboard pieces here from Kinder Creations. So I've got the Honeycomb there and the bee. So I'm just going to work through this in a process type thing, because I want to cover it in white embossing powder. So I will, and yeah, as you can tell, I don't stick to the rules. So I just got some of the gesso, did a little section, and then I sprinkled some of the embossing powder on it. Now I'm not being too fussy over where or how much goes on there, because I actually want some of the raw chipboard so it can soak up some of the wash of paint that I put on over it later on. So I'm not being overly careful, and I do exactly the same thing here with the bee. So you can see how careful I'm not being. And then I'll just heat set the embossing powder. I won't make you watch the whole video because that just takes too long. It's just frozen for me. Now I'm not sure what happens with this next bit, because when I'm filming, my camera that I use at the moment only films in 19-minute segments, so it's a bit of a pain in the butt. But anyway, and it's sort of on a lean or something's happening. So I've just got some of and I'm just using the Aralamide Yellow Deep, and I've just watered it down and just putting it over the top of that chipboard that I've heat embossed the white on there, and then just sort of drying it off, I suppose you could say. And then if you actually go through with the heat gun again, some of the embossing powder comes back up again. That sort of technique with the embossing powder and like letting a stain, I suppose, happen, works really well with the distress oxides as well. So I have done that before, so if you want something different, you know, you can try that. So now I've just got out, and this is a blue black indigo in the Atelier Paints. Now I love this colour, I really love it. I use it a fair bit. You'll probably see it again when I do the gel print. So again, same thing, just washed it, spritzed it with some water this time because I didn't want it as dark, and then heated it again. Sorry. So now I'm just going to get out my gel plate. Now I have a pretty massive one. I don't use it as much as what I should, so I really should use it all. Now because I've got the texture on it, I'm not going to get a perfect print, if that makes sense, as you would as if you used your paper. But that's what I wanted, so I'm pretty happy with that. So looks like I've got some turquoise there. I'm trying to see what other colours I just used. One of the yellows as well. Must be the yellow ochre. Yeah. And then I've always got some tissue paper just laying around, so sort of just drying it up with that. So again, with that deep yellow, and then some yellow ochre over the top. And then you're just taking up some of it, the paint with that stencil. Again, you can't see it a lot right now, but you can see it later on, and I do go back over it later as well. Because I wasn't really happy with how the gel print, I kind of was, and then I wasn't happy with it. Does that make sense? Probably not. But anyway, and then I'm just putting down this white, and I will use some of this white because it's got some of the yellow and blue through it. It was more just to add a little bit more texture, I suppose. Now this big piece of paper, this big piece of tissue that I've been cleaning with this gel print off, it absolutely looks amazing, so I can't wait to use that. So that, you know, that's a bonus piece of doing this. So this time I've got some of the blue black again, and then a quinacridone red violet. I love that color as well. So there's a few, like there's some amazing colors in this range, and it's fantastic paint. Like it really is. It's amazing. Yeah. So now I'm just going to go back in with some more gesso and just scrape through it a bit more. More to pick up, not necessarily run over the top, but to fill the holes, if that makes sense, from where I've got that texture of the paper and that underneath, to try and make it more of an even level playing field. So then I'll just dry it off a little bit, and then I'll come back and do some more. So this time what I'm actually going to do is pull out some Distress Oxides and use them. So first of all, I done this the other day on some paper, and it worked really well, and I spritzed it, like squished down the pads on the piece of paper and then spritzed it and then did it that way. But then I just decided just to do it straight onto the plate, which works really well as well. And I just use my brayer just to roll it. So it gives some nice texture, nice finish that you get from your Distress Oxide. So I've got scattered straw, broken china, mustard seed, and old paper was what I just used there. So again, I'm just cleaning my plate here. I probably could have skipped it, but you know, it is what it is. As you can see how big that sheet of paper is, like, because I think it's a 12 by 16 gel plate that I've got. And yes, I'm looking forward to using that. And yes, I do clean the gel plate off a little bit better later on. I just, you know, didn't want you to have to go through that task. Okay, so it's kind of looking messy and grungy, which is the background that I want. And then I'm thinking it's too light, and it's not as textural as I'd like it. Because I had no idea. I was just using the canvas board, some of the paints, and those chippy pieces. I had no idea or vision in my head for this project. So this is the way I create. So I thought, why not share the way I do create with you guys instead of just trying to do a project and then replicate it, because I just don't work like that. It just doesn't work properly. So I've just got some masking tape and I'm stripping it, like ripping it off into strips, all uneven strips, layering some thicker than other places, and then again same with the gesso, again just applying some more, and then that's just some DecoArt Media Crackle Paste over the top as well. And then I get the DecoArt Media Antiquing Cream, it's called. I did this technique lots and lots because the cracks in the crackle paste come through really well, and then because I've applied the heavy gesso, it cracks up as well, and then the masking tape. So I've just created a whole bundle of texture. Okay, so now I've got out it's a Yuan Brilliant. So it's kind of I don't know, apricot color, I guess, and then just your ochre again, just going through that same stencil. So it's a cell stencil from Kinder Creations. No, I'm not lining it up properly. Yes, some of the cells overlap, some of the lines overlap, but you know, whatever happens. So I've just got a makeup sponge going through, and just wherever it happens to be, that's where it's going. As you can see, I still don't know what I'm doing with the composition. Now I think I've set it on this way, which is what I end up doing. So it's still a bit flat, so I'm getting out another stencil. I can't remember who makes this one. I am so sorry. I think it could be, no idea. I think it might be a Delusions one. I don't know. But yeah, I've just got laying through the burnt sienna and then just some of the other colours that I've already used through there. So just really randomly, all these letters and numbers overlap. I'm just trying to leave that blank texture part black texture part in the middle as a sort of grounding for the piece. So then I just get out a, well, it's supposed to be white thread and black thread, but I don't know, got water spilled on it or something. So it's really an off-white thread now, but it's okay. So just putting some of that down, and then I'll just adhere the chippy. So I'm just using some 450 glue, just any heavy body. Even that heavy body gel medium would work perfectly for that as well. Okay, so laying on my chippy pieces. Then I'm thinking it needs more texture, so I get out that stamp, like that wire, chicken wire, honeycomby effect stamp as well that we've got in the June sampler kit. And just with some Stays On ink, randomly placing that around. And then I get out some Distress Oxide and then use the other part of that stamp, and it just sort of went blobby. Probably because of the way I was using it, but anyway, still had a little bit more texture. And then I don't think the bee is just not looking right for me, so I just get out some of the scattered straw, water it down, and then just sort of sprinkle it over that bee, and then heat gun it in and wipe up any extra. So it just gives a, instead of being a stark white bee, I suppose, of the texture paste, of the embossing powder, it sort of just changes it a little bit. So it's just, again, with just some crackle, using my fingers just to put it a bit more white. And we're pretty much done. I think I just do a little bit more stamping over those crackle paste areas, and then I just find a quote. I was going to go back and edge it with my Stabilo pencil that I usually do, but then I've just left it, and it's growing on me. It's something different for me, which I think is a good thing. We sit in our comfort zone too long, we sort of become a bit stale in our art. So yeah. So again, this is the June sampler kit from Two Sisters Art. It's been so much fun. Thank you again for all the girls for inviting me to play along. And I will be back again next month, which is now this month. So there you go, some close-up pieces. You can see the cracks and everything like that. So thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like and comment and subscribe to the Two Sisters channel. And we'll see you later. Thank you.